called me and talked to me about being the head coach here at Kentucky. I understand the assignment. We are here to win banners.
Back outside. This is the point where he always hits it. Oh! Aaron Harrison beyond belief.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you, January 28th, 2026. This is Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio, streaming on the YouTube. You can catch us there. Just search Big X Sports Radio on YouTube. We're on the TuneIn Radio app, podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. I am TJ Walker, joined in studio with Stephen Peak, and across the wall is one producer, Matt Childress. How is everybody doing today? How are you, Peak? What's up?
Yeah, a little tired from last night. We were up working until about 3 a.m. It's always fun, TJ, to dedicate your entire night, early morning, to a 25-point loss at Vanderbilt. So I'm a little moody today. I need to maybe get over it. At least you didn't
have to go to it.
Thank goodness for that. Thank you, Tyler Thompson, for biting the bullet there and going to that game and saving us. I mean, I think I would have made it in for the show today. Anyway, it's not that far of a drive, but just that was miserable. And then when are Kentucky fans going to learn the lesson, TJ? Stop going to Nashville for games. It's been brutal.
Used to not be that way. There was a time before time a decade ago where it was just you could set your weekend to UK playing 3 games in Nashville. If there was a neutral site game there, they didn't really play a ton of neutral site games there in the Calipari area. Did they play any off the top of my head?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, not that I can think of. But plenty of SEC tournament games. And any NCAA tournament games, again, not off the top of my head. But
yeah, I thought there might have been one, but
it was very rare when they lost. Now, in a 10-month span, Stephen Peak, they have 3 losses in Nashville. Not just in Bridgestone Arena, because obviously Memorial Gymnasium, but by 25 points or more, all 3 of them. 10-month span.
Not to mention
that's crazy. That is crazy.
It is, and not to mention the 35-point loss you got in football.
Yeah, that's not good either.
So the average margin of defeat in Nashville, the last 4 major events that Kentucky's played in, football and basketball, is it is 30 points.
Yeah. That's bad. That's bad. That's not fun. That's not good. It's not what we're looking for. People travel, spend a lot of money, and not getting results, getting embarrassed. Producer Matt, what's up? How are you?
I'm good. Today was pretty good morning. I just kind of chilled today. I wasn't on just the cats. I wasn't feeling very well this morning. I had to stay up quite a while last night because my dog was just throwing up profusely.
Oh,
the whole night I had to basically deep clean my whole room, so that was really fun.
That's not fun at all. I'm sorry to hear that.
So I just did not it was one of those where I didn't get really any sleep, so I just felt I just felt horrible when I woke up. You know what I mean? You just don't feel good. So I wasn't there for that. I'm here today though. We got a little extra sleep, so I feel better. The dogs were fine this morning, so they're good. It's sunny outside, which makes me more in a good mood.
Well, geez, you sound a little down, but you finished on a positive note, so that's good.
I'm just a little tired.
Is the dog feeling better this morning?
Yes, he got it all out last night.
That's good. Just you think it ate something bad, bad snow?
I know what it ate.
Oh,
it ate however much poop a dog could possibly eat.
Well, okay, this is a lunchtime radio program.
I didn't say it originally, but
Jeez.
It was bad.
That is bad. That's pretty gross.
We're in the middle of switching his food over to something healthier. And so I was freaking out yesterday because he was just throwing up everywhere. And I looked it up, and they said that when you switch dogs over to food that's higher in protein and better for them, that their body doesn't digest it correctly. So when they do go to the bathroom, it smells like their food. So it entices them to eat it. So you have to for the next couple, at least week or so, I got to watch him go outside, which is not fun.
That's not fun. My late dog, he was an occasional eater in a similar fashion, and probably twice a year, that would happen. Not fun, but the best thing is just to pick it up. Pick it up as it happens. Don't worry about the dogs will be dogs. They're animals, but that's not fun. I hang in there, buddy. But yeah, you'll get a good night's sleep tonight.
Like I said,
right?
we're all good.
Okay,
I'm in a good mood.
There you go.
I'm just a little tired. I got like a little bit of time to wake up.
All right, good deal. I've got the 4-year-olds off school again. Just wild to me, Stephen Peak.
They're off school again?
Yeah, wild to me. The road again. And I know that there are, and I know I've been on them. There are some back roads places that are untouched, like by plows and salts and things like that are in pretty rough shape. I understand that. But where my daughter's school is, it is totally fine around there. I know normally they go with the entire, the private school system usually just is all for one and one for all. We're open today. We're closed today. First off, that's kind of silly. If a school and the surrounding communities are good to go, then you should be open. And if that means maybe 2 or 3 people are going to have a tough time getting to school because they live out in far areas, then find a way to get them. See if you have any volunteers in the school to get their big old truck or their Hummer to go get them, and I guarantee you'd probably have people be able to step up. And if not, then those people just get to miss school. But I don't think an entire population of hundreds and maybe larger situations, thousands of people should not be in school. We're kind of going through the calendar. They're hardly in school these days. There's winter breaks. There's Christmas breaks. There's spring breaks. There's fall breaks. There's just breaks left and right. And then, of course, summer break is seemingly earlier than it ever was when we were in school. And now that I'm going through this here to start Kentucky Roll Call on January 28th, 2026, I'm realizing I'm incredibly old. And this is, hey, back in my day, we blah, 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 blah. They're just never in school anymore, Peak. And if that makes me an old man to acknowledge it, it's wild. And we have the 1-year-old in the daycare that they are open all the time, so we're thankful for that. But they don't follow the big school system, public or private or Catholic or whatever it is. They don't follow their on or off system. They go by their own. So we're thankful for that. But it's just crazy how little school kids that are just in grade school.
Do 4-year-olds do the at-home learning?
So they get like coloring pages and mazes and like tracing letters. So it's not even necessarily, I think, mandatory, but it's just like, hey, parents, if you need something for your kid to work on, here. So we've actually done a couple of those things.
What do you do if you're a parent and you have to go to work?
That's what the wife was like. She was like, you're lucky that you have a flexible job.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what would we do? Because she does not. She has to be at the office, and we're just, I don't know, we're somewhat lucky. We're lucky that we have family in town, always offering to help. But, yeah, there are people out there that are probably out-of-towners, don't have family, and just probably tell their boss, like, hey, if you want me to be employed here, I'm going to have to work from home, or I'm going to have to come in late or figure something out. But, yeah, you just survive in advance. But how little schooling they do. It is crazy to me. Tomorrow is Teacher Appreciation Lunch Day, Stephen Peak. I bet they'll be in school tomorrow. They're not going to miss their appreciation lunch day.
No.
I'm being somewhat facetious about that. But one, my guess is they will be open. They should be open. And two, it is Teacher Appreciation Lunch Day. They cater in for the teachers. They can't miss that. So it's Catholic Schools Week, but it's a very short. It's going to end up being a 2-day Catholic Schools Week, if even that.
Oh yeah. Those
are always fun. They'd give you like candy and treats and all that fun.
I can't remember.
Stuff.
We had that when we were younger too.
Yeah.
I
think it's a bigger deal now than it was back then. But
okay.
Even then, I remember like one day at lunch at St. X, they just give us ice cream. They were like, Catholic Schools Week. There you go. I was like, oh, woohoo. Thanks, Mom and Dad. We did it. All right. 502-414-1450, the Gameday Men's Health text line. Text on into the show. We'll do our best to read it on air. It was an embarrassment in Nashville, and we'll just jump right into it. We'll have Jacob Polachek on the show a little bit later, hour number 2. But yikes. How many times can this keep happening? And I wasn't up till 3 a.m. working like Stephen Peak was, but I was up till about 12:30, 1 o'clock doing the Bud Light postgame show.
I still need to listen to it because I'm sure it was great.
On ESPN 680. We had to like turn off the phone lines because it's just like, all right, it's getting too late. And we went an hour and 30 minutes, but we could have gone longer. Couple drunk callers, which were funny.
Yeah, it's a late game.
But people were worked up. And I guess what surprised me a little bit, and, well, one of these didn't surprise me, one of them did surprise me, was people didn't want to talk about the X's and O's so much of the game. Like, obviously, Otega-Oweh stepping in and out of bounds and that sort of deal. There were a couple individual plays that people wanted to bring up. But when you get beaten that badly, you don't want to talk about a specific play. You can talk about the start and how embarrassing it is that time and time again you just come out getting punked. But most people just wanted to talk big picture. What's going to happen with Mark Pope? Pope, yeah, because people
Why is that?
well, just because it's basketball, you usually talk about the coaches or you talk about the players, and I totally agree that Mitch Barnhart deserves some of the blame. I just didn't think after last night's beatdown he was going to be maybe the most talked about person. I was just a little surprised by that, but everybody's right. This is probably the worst stretch in Kentucky basketball history.
I've been saying it the last 6 years.
We're living in it right now.
We are in the worst stretch in Kentucky basketball history. You can go through bigbluehistory.net. They lay it all out for you. There has never been a stretch like this. They haven't won anything. They haven't won an SEC regular season title. They haven't won the SEC tournament. Hell, they've only won a couple games. TJ, they're 3-4 in their last 7 games against Vanderbilt. They're 1-6 in their last 7 games at Bridgestone. They have their biggest tournament win, because let's be real, TJ, they're not going to the Sweet 16. They're going to be fortunate to make the round of the field of 68. Their biggest tournament win in this 6-year stretch is going to be a round of 32 win over Illinois.
Oof.
That's it.
Yeah.
They've had 3 NCAA tournament wins during the stretch. Kentucky basketball, it's crazy. And you know, I want it to be so simple as, well, Mitch Barnhart screwed it up. I mean, he's responsible. He's the guy. He's been the one constant in this, right? They flipped the coaches, players, some administration staff. He's the one guy. Some of it is unlucky.
Yeah, the injuries are unlucky. That is what it is. I
still say Jack Golke hitting that many threes is unlucky. Like, some of those threes he hit were crazy, but like, you can't lose that game. You can't lose to St. Peter's. You can't, like. But this is it. That's how I am, TJ. I don't even, like, the game last night feels almost irrelevant. Like, it snapped a 5-game winning streak that now just seems like a fraudulent 5-game winning streak. Like, you played all the easier games were stacked together.
Yes.
Aside from Tennessee, at Tennessee. The other 4 games surrounding that were all just stacked together, and it worked out well. And really, you should have beat Missouri. It should have been a 6-game winning streak, which would have been the second longest, or would have been the longest winning streak in this 6-year stretch in SEC play for Kentucky. There was a time, TJ, they'd rattle off 8, 9, 10 wins in a row. I understand the SEC's gotten better, but this is Kentucky. You're still supposed to be the best in this conference, and you haven't really been close. I think they have 1 second-place finish back in 24. It's bad, and I like, yeah, Mitch Barnhart is the one constant.
You're fired.
Oh, no! We suck again!
There you go. I like it.
But what do you do? Like, what has he got? Like, the higher problem.
It's just crazy to think that we're talking about the worst stretch in the history of Kentucky basketball, such a rich and proud, storied program. And also, it's not the Billy Gillispie era that we're talking about. That's not the end of the Tubby, the Billy Gillispie 2 years. That's not even the worst stretch. And Mitch Barnhart was the athletic director for that stretch as well. So you're talking about one was probably more publicly embarrassing, although this is not good. It's not good just getting your butt beat left and right, especially when you play in Nashville, but really just when you're playing on the road. But it's not Billy obviously had his own stuff going on. You don't at least have that, but you also have the perception that you have a $22 million roster, that this year you had high expectations. It's a really fun year of college basketball. I think there's probably only like 4 or 5 teams that can legitimately win the national championship, but I do think that there's probably like 20 to 25 teams that maybe could make the Final Four. It's a fun year. Kentucky is D&P, did not participate. They're just not a part of the equation. I think their odds to win the SEC regular season are like plus 4,500 right now.
Yeah,
it's just
like
you
not gonna happen.
I mean, there's no chance. You just be lighting money on fire. Do not bet that. Do not bet that.
Bet $1, I guess, just in case. Right?
Do not even bet $1. It's just a bad team, and I don't know if Mark Pope's a bad coach, but I certainly don't know if he's a good coach. I have no evidence to suggest that he's a good coach, but he did a bad job putting this team together. Injuries are bad luck, but even when the team was healthy, it still had some flaws.
Right.
It still had some issues. And then he just can't push the right buttons. And Peak, the start of these games, it is just humiliating. For Pope, and I even I mentioned this on the postgame show, but I was even watching the first stretch, and I was like, all right, it's happening again. They're falling behind. Let me really lock in and see, what is this team doing wrong? And the offense was actually okay for the most part. They were getting some decent looks. Not amazing. I think they missed a couple layups.
Yes.
Although they
wide open 10-footer.
They missed a ton of open layups. And then as the 3 minutes turned to 4 and 4 minutes turned to 5, they started not running as great of offense. They started taking contested shots. You could feel them starting to get tight. But that first little stretch, I'm thinking to myself, this really isn't on Pope. It's not his fault that players are doing silly turnovers or just missing open shots. They're there. They're supposed to make them. They need to make them. There's a 3 or 2 that just kind of rattled in and out. It should have been a better start. I didn't blame it on Pope. But then as it kept going, I was thinking to myself, it's got to be on the coach, though, for this to keep happening. Yeah, it's on the players. Yeah, they need to be better. It's probably just not that good of a team, truth be told. It is what it is. We'll just have to deal with it and talk about it, and we'll go from there. But, Pope, figure something out. Don't you have some offensive gurus on your staff? Shouldn't you just be getting easy, guaranteed, bona fide buckets because the play was so good that you couldn't help yourself? They've got nothing. They have no more buttons to push. They can't figure it out. And that's concerning, even though yesterday specifically in a 25-point blowout where the game really was over by the first TV timeout.
Sure was.
It's embarrassing looking at the box score. Time led for UK, 0-0. Times tied for UK. It was like 18 seconds or something like that. That's about it.
Do you want another fun stat about this game?
But it was just there's plenty.
I'll get to it.
There's plenty of terrible ones to go with. But at the end of the day, you are the head coach, and time and time again, you're coming out of that tunnel not ready to go. That is unbelievable. And yeah, the players should be embarrassed too. The thing I mentioned on the show last night, Peak, was, all right, if playing for the name on the front of the jersey, if that doesn't spark you, if that doesn't move you, being down by 7, 10, 11 by the second TV timeout, by the first TV timeout, you should start caring about the name on the back. Do you not care about what you're representing to just go out there as a D1 basketball player and have these opposing teams laughing at you at the first TV, the second TV timeout, just knowing that, this game's over? We're comfortable.
Have we ever had an era of basketball in this state where both teams, Louisville and Kentucky, have the same exact problems, and they're basically at the same exact level?
I don't think it's any surprise.
Not bad. Not when they were this bad.
I don't think it's any surprise, too, that neither one were the first choices, and rightfully so. Not the first choices.
I feel like I'm literally just listening to the podcast recording of me ranting yesterday.
Yeah, it's not good. Hit me with some stats here.
Okay, well, there's you talked about the beginning of the game. The Kentucky started off 0 for 7 and missed 2 free throws. Then you're right. Denzel Aberdeen gets a second foul. Now you got Colin Chandler bringing the ball down the floor, and that's just not going to work. He can't run point. And from that point, it's over. Like you said, it was over. We all knew it was over. Maybe Mark Pope can call a timeout a little earlier. I thought when Vanderbilt hit the 3 to go up 7-0, I was like, let's go ahead and get a TO here. Let's don't get a timeout, get everybody settled down, and try to draw up a play that just, all right, we're running this play. This is going to get us at least a shot at a layup here. He does wait until it gets to like, oh no, this is really bad. What was the score when he took the timeout? Was it like 13-4? What was it? It was bad.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, the game was already over with at that point.
Right after it was 7-0, they did at least get some free throws.
And they missed them both.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so you look at the KenPom minimum win probability, and it's like what point of the game does it like they're predicting a win, and it like tips into where like Kentucky doesn't have a chance basically, and Vanderbilt's minimum win probability was at tip off.
Yeah, it's not good.
I mean, like
good.
This is
it was 4-9 at the first media timeout, and then Mark Pope called a timeout 15-4.
15-4. I mean, like the game. Wait, how much time was left?
13-11.
So we had one field goal, because I think Aberdeen did make a couple free throws.
It was a minute 30 after the first media timeout.
So we still
90 seconds.
We waited until
that.
the media timeout. We had that timeout, and then we called a timeout.
Yes, 5. So, yeah, it was a 5-point game turned into an 11-point game in 90 seconds. Pope called a timeout. UK hit a 3 shortly after that, and this happened probably 3 or 4 times where UK'd make a 3 or maybe get an and one, and Vandy, and it was you could tell Kentucky labored to get the 3. It just didn't come easy, or it was like, woohoo, all right, a 3 went in. That's great. And then Vandy would just get a wide open 3 on the other end like it was nothing. Somebody would be out of position defensively, and Vandy just looked bored almost. And wide open 3, they made it within 20 seconds of Kentucky making a 3. So it was like, all right, we chipped in. Maybe if Kentucky's going to make a run here, oh, they made a 3. Never mind. Yep, just back to a wash there.
It happened a couple times.
Several times.
Kentucky got an and one, and then Vanderbilt came down, hit a 3.
The game was over within 5 minutes.
How many steals do they have in the first, 10 minutes?
They had 9 on the game, which is their average.
Yeah.
But
and that's
I don't know.
But the thing is, it's bigger than the Vanderbilt game. I mean, you now can look. You go through the schedule, and
that's why I think a lot of people weren't angry. Is just because it was just, Vandy's just better than you. They don't even have their best player, who was a late scratch. They're just better than you. So you can't. What are you going to get mad about? The last team's just better than
they are. Vanderbilt. When Vanderbilt passes Kentucky, things start to change for the Kentucky basketball program. The last 2 times, TJ, that a Kentucky coach has lost back-to-back games at Vanderbilt, they didn't get a shot at 3 in a row. Tubby left. Gillespie was fired. Cal never lost back-to-back games at Vanderbilt.
Wow.
I mean, and Vanderbilt is good this year. And they were decent last year. They got a new coach. I mean, obviously, dude, what is it with James Madison? They just produce rock star coaches in all sports. What's their baseball coach doing?
Seriously.
What's going on there? What's their women's basketball coach doing?
No kidding.
But you can't lose 3 games in a row at Vandy. I mean, we can discuss some stuff about, what do you do in the offseason if this thing really goes off the rails. But I think unless he has some type of off-the-court drama, Mark Pope's going to be back next year.
Yes.
And I'm trying to, be okay with that because I still think he's a great coach. I thought last year he was, I would give Mark Pope an A last year as far as on-the-court coaching. And I'd give him a solid B+ in roster construction for last season. This season, I don't even think when healthy this was ever going to be a Final Four team. I mean, let me ask you something, TJ. If fully healthy, would you have gone into any game, let's say the tournament, Kentucky played Arizona, UConn, Michigan, Duke? Would you feel confident that Kentucky's going to win? Remember, this is the most expensive roster in college basketball. Would you have felt confident with Kentucky winning? Not could they win. Of course they could. Upsets happen. Would you have gone into those games thinking, Yeah. I'll pick Kentucky. Would Kentucky be favored? I guess is the better question.
I don't think so.
Absolutely freaking not.
Yeah, I
No.
Even if fully healthy, and it's tough to say with JQ, because if he is fully healthy, I think that dude could just dominate college basketball.
Where are they going to score on the perimeter?
If he's healthy.
Who's going to hit shots? I mean,
but I think the Kentucky team would be good enough defensively to be in a lot of games. But I don't. I think that they would be all right. This team's going to make the second weekend, and let's just hope it's a good draw at that point, and maybe they can make a Final Four. But
Elite Eight at best.
But it wouldn't be like a definitive. This team is making the Final Four.
Exactly.
So I agree. When you see these other teams, I agree with that.
Yeah, and that's kind of frustrating, right? Because you had enough money. Money wasn't the issue. You should have been able to go out and pick who you wanted. And the one thing that's hurting Mark Pope right now as far as favorability with the fan base, because I think people do realize 9 injuries to 9 different players in one season is extreme. It's on the extreme end of the bell curve. No way should a team deal with this many injuries. No way should you have 6 point guard injuries in like 40 games. That just shouldn't happen. So I think people would be willing to give him the benefit of the doubt there. But then you look at like, okay, well, what's next year going to look like, TJ? I know we've discussed this maybe ad nauseum at this point, but there's nobody coming in as a freshman. You signed nobody,
and that's so concerning. It really is. And not to bring it totally back on Mitch Barnhart, but I just thought of this, and we were talking about it a little earlier. But Peak, I'm sure you're the same way, and it just sucks that we're going to do this again. And I don't know, maybe I've just grown up, so like I'm not. I just remember in 2011 being like, my goodness, I am an adult in college, like a little baby, stupid adult in college, but I'm in college, and realistically, I've never gotten to see my favorite team make the Final Four. And I remember like 98 a little bit, and 97 a little less, and 96 hardly at all. But like that, even if you do remember that, even if you're 7 and you're 6 and you do have fond, great memories of it, you're 7 or you're 6 years old.
Yeah.
So when 2011 rolled around, I was like 13 years since the last Final Four, but really for me, the first one in my life. Yes. This is incredible. I can't believe it took so long for this to happen, but this is great. And then when they won the national championship in 2012, being like, this is like the peak sports feeling.
Yeah.
And Kentucky's second all time in the world with national championships, but let's have this happen more often. We're now further removed from the last national championship than we were. Like that's sad. And it's not going to be too long until it's the exact same thing with the Final Four. We're 2 years away from that being realistic. And I think what we've learned is you got to have, you don't maybe have to have a team full of NBA talent, but you need to have some NBA talent. And where's the NBA talent for next year, Mark Pope? Where is it? And
Malachi Marino?
Maybe it's a second rounder. Maybe it's Malachi Marino, but surrounded by what guards? And then, all right, you showed in your first year that you can get some people that are kind of fringe NBA talent, but they were really good shooters. Where were the shooters this year? And people challenged you on that, and you barked back saying, we're ready for it. It's not a good shooting team.
Yeah, like, TJ, you knew it wasn't a good shooting team going in.
We talked about it.
You knew it. You knew that. Now, how come, now, no disrespect to TJ Walker, the sports talker, but how come you knew it and Mark Pope, whether he knew it or not?
Well, Mark Pope said that this is the best shooting team he's ever seen.
Well, that's what I'm saying. How did Mark Pope not know that? And maybe he did, and he just has to say publicly, no, guys, we're going to be great. Maybe it's to build some confidence. But why did you sign all these guys?
Yeah.
Like, the first guy they went after, Donovan Dent, who we were all mad at, Jacob, who's going to be in here in a little bit. Everybody's got pissed off at him because the Donovan Dent thing didn't happen. He stinks. That was our first choice. So, yeah, I mean, that's frustrating. I know we got to go to break, but to wrap this point up, as you were saying, Mitch Barnhart has taken control. When did he become the AD at Kentucky?
2002, 2003?
Okay, I have this stat here. This goes back to 1997. Here's what's interesting. He took over the greatest college basketball tradition, the winningest program in all of college basketball. Here's what the other Blue Bloods have done during this time, okay? First off, Kentucky, 5 1 seeds, 1 title, 4 Final Fours. That's awesome. That's great. For like every other program, that's amazing. I mean, Louisville fans would love to have that resume since 1997. But if you're going to stack us against the Blue Bloods, Kansas, TJ, they've had 12 1 seeds, 2 titles, 6 Final Fours. Duke is going to have 13 1 seeds, 3 titles, 7 Final Fours. UNC, 9 1 seeds, 3 titles, 7 Final Fours. And again, Kentucky, 5 1 seeds, like about half of what the third place Blue Blood is, and 1 title and 4 Final Fours. Like, and that's through 3 different coaches, right? 3 different coaches, but only really 1 athletic director since '02. That's just not like that's not the standard. That's not the assignment.
This might be an extremist question, but if Kentucky and Louisville both continue to have the seasons they're having, which you're kind of, we're already over halfway through the season. Most teams evaluated in January. That's just kind of what you are. You are what you are. If they continue to have seasons like this to the end, do you think that next year, come the Louisville-Kentucky game, it's almost as if like the Louisville football game this past year, like where people are just like kind of bought out?
No, basketball's a little different.
Neither team has anybody coming in.
There's it's not gonna be as hyped, that's for sure. But people will still get excited about it. It's UK U of L. I think it'll be okay.
As long as Louisville fans stay interested, I guess they weren't interested for.
But not taking
the last 4 years.
Not taking a U of L angle on it, but remember when for Kentucky roll call fans that have been listening for a little while, I remember we were out at a Southern Indiana golf course. Hopefully they'll be back on the Big X Sports Radio golf card. And we got the news that John Calipari was going to forfeit his buyout, and we were celebrating, and we were hooting and hollering, and we were super pumped up about it. And I went on air that morning, and it was like my last show before my second kid was born, and was saying, it's not that I want Cal to leave. I did think it was time, but if he was going to come back, I personally would have been all right with it. He was going to have decent players. He's going to have a solid roster. I don't think it would have ended up being all that great when it was all said and done, but you would have had some reason for hope and some reason for optimism. I was just happy that Kentucky didn't have to pay the buyout, and they were getting off scot-free, and that you could just move on and detach from it, because the following year, regardless what I wanted, it was going to be super toxic. Every time Kentucky lost, just all the pent-up emotion of the final 3-4 years of John Calipari, it would spew over in a random November loss. When in reality, losing a game in November, not the end of the world. Losing a game in December, not necessarily the end of the world. And it was just going to be this unnecessary, just kind of gross year where the fan base was going to be fighting with one another. And not that that matters, just win. But any small loss was going to explode into something bigger than it should have been. And part of that is on Cal for allowing it to get on to that point. Folks, we'll be there with Pope next year. We're already there. We've already, unless they go on a Final Four run, which they're not going to,
in the NIT,
or they go and win the SEC tournament or something like that. Things that I just can't envision happening. And I really am worried that Saturday is going to be worse than what just happened at Vanderbilt. And it's hard to imagine it getting worse, but Mark Pope has shown this same season that it can be worse than what we saw last night, which is just absolutely wild to think. So I think that we have already reserved ourselves to a 2026, 2027 Mark Pope season of every loss, which in its own right, not the end of the world, but we're just sick of Mark Pope losing. And we're sick of him just putting his arms crossed like this and not doing anything. He just doesn't have any answers, and he's in over his head. And we're in for a break. This is Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. We'll be back after this. Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM. Stephen Peak, TJ Walker, producer Matt Childers. Get your text into the Gameday Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. Gameday Men's Health, redefining men's wellness. No shortcuts, just results. Testosterone, peptides, weight loss therapy, you name it, Gameday Men's Health has it. Go to GamedayMensHealth.com and see what they're all about. They're not the type of company that's going to get you in the office and keep you for hours on end or make you, okay, you got to come back tomorrow and then the next day and the next day. They'll get you in and out in maybe just 30 minutes at Gameday Men's Health, which is great. GamedayMensHealth.com is the website to learn more and keep that 2026 health journey rocking and roll calling. 502-414-1450 is that number. We could talk a lot about last night and how terrible it was. I had this tweet, and I did get one negative reply, and I was a little maybe was slightly hesitant to post it. But, Pete, there's been a couple times this year where it's just like, oh, and trust me, this is much more likely. I'm not alleging anything. This is just more likely the sign of a bad team. But there have been several plays this year where I'm like, oh, I could see that popping up in a gambling indictment video, highlight video in like 3 years.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Specifically last night, the out-of-bounds play.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was horrible. Was that intentional? But there's been a couple other ones this season. And again, I'm not alleging any of that.
Well,
why would I?
26-point game and a 6.5-point spread.
Yeah.
I think they were fine.
Unless you teased Vandy all the way up to 25
Oh,
points.
okay. Yeah, that's true.
No, you're exactly right. I'm not alleging anything. But it just goes to show that's how bad it is, everybody, that it looks like that. That's not all right. I know we'll say that a million times over, but 80-55, 43-23 at the half. You're down by 20 at the half. That's just wild. A couple tweets and other things that maybe you've seen, maybe you haven't, but I'll pass along. Cameron Drummond tweeted out, in 14 high major games this season,
It's a good one,
against Power 5 opponents, Kentucky has led at halftime 2 of the games, has been tied 2 of the games. So that's 4. If you're good at math, that means that they have trailed in 10 of the games.
Yeah. Tied against Texas and North Carolina, and then they were beating the Mississippi schools at halftime in both games. So all of them...
They were still down big against Mississippi State, too.
So that means they've trailed in every single road or neutral site game.
Yeah.
At the break.
Yeah.
And they've trailed by 16 or more, TJ, in the first half of every single true road game.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. So Kentucky is averaging in Power 5 games this year. They're averaging being down, I think it's like 8.5 points. So let's just call it, let's be generous. I mean, it is 3 possessions, so you're not being generous, you're being factual. But it's at least including 2 threes. You're down 3 possessions at the half against quality opponents. You're Kentucky basketball. I think, I don't know if that hits people the way that it should. You're going to the halftime against good teams, against decent teams, not always good, just teams that are Power 5. And you're down 3 possessions every game on average. So that means, you know this, you've watched the games. That means that's the average is 3 possessions. That means there's plenty that are 5, 6 potentially. And maybe there's a few that aren't as bad. That is just hard to fathom for Kentucky basketball, a team with a $22 million roster. And that's not just in like road games, which Peak already said how embarrassing the road game stats are. Just any games. You're on average down 3 possessions. And basketball possessions can happen quickly. It's not the end of the world, and we've seen Kentucky come back. But what is going on in terms of preparation that you are allowing this to happen? what are you saying to your team in the locker room? What are you doing during the week? And we were told that Pope was that he was smart, that he had great game planning. He wasn't going to be outworked. That the narrative was that Calipari and his staff, they didn't do any game prep. But now we've got people that know what they're doing and that are going to work hard. These first halves, and again, maybe it's all the players and the coaches aren't responsible. You're still responsible. They're your players. They're your guys.
Yeah, you handpicked them and paid them really well.
It is crazy to me. What do you all think about the Vandy tunnel shenanigans? The money on three.
Oh, right. What was it? They're quoting a song where they say tough money on three or touch money.
Touch money.
I don't care. These players say all kinds of things, and it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
But I will say, it's like not that the 18 to 22-year-olds don't have a right to be a little tone deaf. Let's not use that one again. How about we use let's don't lose by 20 on three.
Let's get back here at the halftime tunnel and not have our fan base be embarrassed with our effort on three.
1, 2, 3.
That'd be a little long,
yeah,
a little wordy.
It's a lot. Not everybody's going to be able to keep it.
I didn't have an issue with it. It's just, again, when you're getting blown out. And that was the thing with Mark Pope. Yeah, he sounded down yesterday, not like curl up in a bed sort of down sort of deal. But he sounded down. There's nothing that he can say. We're going to be nitpicky about everything when the players are doing these chants about money and then they're losing in the nil era. It's
much has been made about a $22 million roster.
Yeah, it's all low-hanging fruit. You know what's going to happen. You know how it wouldn't happen? Win. Don't lose.
Keep it close. Have us be disappointed that a shot didn't go in near the end.
Or there was a bad
about
call
that.
potentially.
Because like you said, how many people really want to talk about the X's and O's of last night's game? No, we're going to talk about big picture stuff.
Yeah. You aren't competitive enough with Vanderbilt, who is a good team, but even to the point that we could talk about the X's and O's. It's wild stuff. Here was the team hooting and hollering before the game. Yeah, I don't have an issue with it. A lot of people did make a big deal about it. Touch money on three. Well,
what song are they quoting?
If you had Vandy 24.5, winner, winner, chicken dinner. I don't know the song they're quoting. Let's read some.
I touched some money last night because I put money on and gave the 6.5 points.
We did say that was the bet of the day. And then it was going down. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, what is going on? And then sure enough, it's Duke Miles is out. So Vandy, again, we've glossed over this. We didn't mention it, but Vandy didn't have their best player. One of the best defensive players in the SEC, one of Vandy's best scorers, certainly in SEC play. He was out, and they still were just able – they made such a big deal. I had to turn Jimmy Dykes off.
I listened to it. I watched the game on silent.
I listened about 5 minutes, and then I synced it up with the Leach and Goose audio. And to their credit,
Goose was going in on
he was. Yeah, Goose was like, I said before the game, my goose is Givens. My goose is Givens. He was like, I said that this was going to happen. They're not doing it. I said that they needed to do this. They're not doing it. My goose is Givens.
I love your Jack Goose Givens impression because it's almost like perfect. Like if I close my eyes, I almost think I'm in the room with Goose.
Well, thank you. I've been told that I sound a lot like an elderly black gentleman frequently, so that means a lot.
But he was like, man, oh my goodness. He was. You could tell. It's so funny. My dad was listening to it. He called me and told me, and it's like you can tell Jack Goose Givens is like, I'm just gonna hold. I'm holding back what I really want to say here.
I actually had this take. I wonder if your dad felt this way. Listening, and this is the beauty. Like instead of wanting to rip my ears off listening to Jimmy Dykes, I'm actually enjoying not Kentucky getting blown out, but the commentary during the game. There was another time. I think Goose. He's an older gentleman. I don't think he'd be the worst dude to have on staff. He will call out he's at the practices, so he's obviously getting more information than just what we're seeing in the games. But he'll call out these plays basically where he's like, Malachi needs to go bang. He's got a smaller guy on him. Get it to him. Go. And then sure enough, they give it to Malachi, and then it was a rough game for everybody.
He knows ball.
He was like, thank you, and Leach was like, that's what you had been saying to do, and they finally do it. They are so polite and they're so professional, But that broadcast last night was their way of basically being like, what is going on with this coaching staff? It was pretty clear what you needed to do against this team, and you're not doing it. So it was all systems failure. Just Jimmy Dykes, I'm sure he's a great dude. I like Carl Ravage. I'm just not doing it this year. I'm taking the year off from him. Maybe I'll try again next year. and we've been pretty good not having them on this season. That their first game, I'm pretty sure. Isn't that what we decided, or they do?
Oh, it was?
I don't think they've done many. If that may have been their first.
I don't get to see very many games
That's
on
true.
TV, so except for
yeah,
helps me out.
Did you guys see the Vanderbilt men's basketball team? Their game day win tweet was making fun of the
the
field
taser.
the Easter. Yeah, Ryan got tased.
It was a good post. Just don't let Vanderbilt beat you by 25 or 30 in football and all these other sports, and you don't have to deal with them trolling you.
Did you see? One of their players? I thought one of their players.
You fought one of their players?
I thought that one of their players quote retweeted Field of 68.
Yeah, Tyler Nichols. Field of 68, who was it? Justin Jackson, the former UNC player. Are they just getting people that are just incredibly bored with these were just good college players that you'd think are still playing professional basketball, but they end up on a Field of 68 podcast. Good for them. But terrible analysis. He was like, Kentucky's going to pound them inside. Kentucky's going to be more physical inside. It was a pretty big concern that Kentucky was going to get their ass handed to them on the glass. And sure enough, they did. So they used that as motivation, and it backfired. Yeah, it certainly did. 80-55. Let's go to the text line here. A texter on the Gameday Men's Health text line says, get this bum out of town. He sucks, and he should be ashamed of himself. That was the second-time texter.
It was. Well, the last time was January 9th. Oh, he said Pope and his Geek Speak are an old act. The bum needs to go ASAP. So he's staying consistent with his take. Or her take. We don't know.
He or hers. A texter says, John here, you know what, TJ and Steven? I'd like to say money on 3 on Fridays when the payroll hits the bank. However, usually within 15 minutes, these things called bills come in, and you say, oh, no, you're broke again. Not all of us can get paid a couple $1 million a year playing or coaching basketball while only displaying mediocre skills at best. I'm not happy about last night. I hope they can bounce back on Saturday. I love our Cats. We'll got to go talk to you later. Well, John, thanks for staying up late and calling in last night. I appreciate it. And that is one silver lining, although my confidence level is below 2%. If you win Saturday, we won't care about last night.
No.
Truly, we will not.
But let's be. It's the first time.
They're not going to win.
First time, I think, this year I've gone fully. Usually I can talk myself into it as you get closer to the game. And we'll see where I'm at Friday, but I got a feeling this is going to be one where I know what I'm walking into. Sports surprises you, though, TJ. I mean, upsets happen. Who did Arkansas almost lose to earlier this year? Some mid-major team. But here's the thing. If we think that John Calipari is not going to have his team ready,
they'll be ready. Yeah, because they play – Cal's dudes always play hard for him. You never have to question –
in these kind of games.
These
personal games. Cal doesn't lose those.
Dude, Reed Shepherd wore Arkansas shorts during the UK-Arkansas game.
Arkansas shirt.
It was shorts. I forgot which one.
Hogs on top.
It was hogs on. Well, whatever. I mean, it was Cal's dudes love him.
Yes.
And what he does is he basically gets them in this little bubble where it's us against the world mindset mentality. Who cares even what jersey you're wearing? I think some Kentucky fans would take exception to that. But it's us versus everybody else.
La Familia.
And these players are going to know, because DJ Wagner will tell them, these players are going to know what it means for him in this game. And Cal probably won't even say a word. He probably will treat it like a normal game. To him, he probably will try to make it as normal as possible. But his guys will do his battling for him. And if Kentucky goes out with that energy yesterday, it will be worse.
He'll run the score up.
And the thing is, if you've seen this Kentucky team lay down and take it time and time and time again, why wouldn't they do it on Saturday? They're willing participants. They have a quitability unlike any Kentucky team I can remember. Even the Billy Gillispie teams had more fight than this group has. So when they're down 17-4 at Arkansas, I could see Denzel Aberdeen and Ortega just being like, it's happening again. Yep. Oh well. It's just not good, and it's not good. It's not nearly good enough.
Can we, Matt? I sent you the tweet with John Calipari's comments after the Oklahoma game last night, and I just thought that he makes a little comment about Mark Pope at the end, and you
got to pull it up, Matthew.
Let me pull it up over the break, and I'll play it when we come
perfect.
back.
That's perfect. Yeah, just we'll talk about it when we get back from break. But I thought that this was a little patting on the head deal.
Yeah, I called it a Mark Fox moment, which is so embarrassing. But you said it's actually a little bit more than a Mark Fox moment. I thought that was a good point. So we'll talk about that as well. Another texter. Well, you can say, actually, we got about a minute. You can say that. You can say that point now if you'd like.
Oh well, yeah. I was just saying. I think he's. You'll hear what he says in there, but it's basically like Mark Pope's the man for the job.
He's got like schoolgirl butterflies in his stomach when he's saying it. Like he's about to burst out laughing. Like, yeah. So you all want it.
You got him. You got your guy. You got him. He's gonna win it. Win another national title for you guys. Yeah. Okay.
Hour 2, Jacob Polachek coming up next on Big X Sports Radio's Kentucky Roll Call.
Walton, or are there still going to be emotions for the likes of you, DJ, some of the other guys?
I don't think so. But what I would say, it's the next game, and we're in a different position. We kind of flipped the switch. Like last year, we were like, what were we willing to play them? 1-6. And then we got them pretty good, but we were 1-6. Somebody said it was. I didn't care who it was. We needed to beat somebody. And now, the only significance of the game to me is we need to keep winning because let's stay pace with what's going on and people around us. And they're playing great. Mark Pope's doing a great job. He is. Look, for them to struggle and then to him to get them going, he's the right guy for that job. He is.
I mean, can you hear it in his voice a little bit? Maybe I'm looking for stuff, but come on, he's the right guy for the job.
For me, it's like obviously it's over radio, so you can't see it, but he does like the hand gesture, like he's waving off the question, and like for me, that I feel like that's just like really disrespectful. Like he's like kind of like pushing off, like, come on, man, it's Mark Pope.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, we're getting the Mark Fox treatment. It's not good. It's not good at all. Joining us now for hour number 2 here on Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio, Jacob Polachek. What's up, Jacob?
Hey,
how are you?
Doing? Never been better, never been worse.
I love it.
Guys?
Catchphrase.
I love it. He asked me about the Green Bay defensive coordinator as soon as he came in the room. I was like, I haven't given it the time. Although it's Jonathan Gannon, who played at U of L, was a U of L guy, and a student assistant, grad assistant for the Cards during, I think, the Bobby 1.0 era, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll need to do a little bit more Jonathan Gannon research, but he is the new defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, as the previous one is now Stephen Peake's favorite team's head coach.
Woo!
So
back. Fins are back.
Well, we're going to get into NFL talk today. I promise you that. That was Calipari straight into NFL talk, so we'll finish up the Calipari conversation. But that's the game on Saturday. We'll probably spend more time talking about it on Friday. But that's a guy who's not worried. When he says we got to worry about keeping pace with the other guys, he's not talking about UK. He's talking about seeding. He's talking about SEC tournament or SEC standings. Florida is the heavy favorite to win the conference, but second place is Arkansas. So he's talking about we just need to keep winning. Like I mentioned, the players are going to play hard for him. He's not going to have to make it anything more. So when he says that, I think he's being genuine. But Kentucky needs to be ready because it will get ugly, Jacob.
Be ready.
Be ready.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a broken record. Just you can't get off to a bad start.
True.
That's a good point.
You have to come in prepared.
Mm-hmm.
No, preparedness.
And you just can't dig yourself an early deficit. I don't feel like. I mean, that winning streak was real. That it was, but none of those teams.
Just say it. Say it, Jacob. Say it with your chest. It wasn't a very impressive winning streak.
It wasn't a very impressive winning streak. And I think that
they didn't look great in it. They weren't beating great teams, with the exception of the Tennessee game.
They could have been 1-7. I mean, let's be real. Like, they had a shot. They should have lost Illinois. They should have lost Illinois. Sorry. Wrong orange team. They should have lost to Tennessee. They should have lost to LSU.
Tried to give away the Texas game.
Almost gave away that game, and then the Ole Miss game was in jeopardy until Colin Chandler hits that shot. Now, I mean, you can't, you don't. I'm surprised they won all of them, to be honest.
What game have they won this season that they really shouldn't have? Like, as far as a team that's probably better than them?
St. John's probably is the only one I could think of.
St. John's, yeah.
At Tennessee. Like,
do you mean they won impressively, or like?
No, just like a team that's probably on paper better than them.
Yeah.
Tennessee, probably.
Well, yeah, I get what Jacob's saying. I mean, Tennessee and Kentucky, if you were looking at the beginning of the year, we liked our roster better than their roster. Now, winning on the road anytime in a rivalry game, top 25, you're happy with it. So that was legitimately a good win. But Tennessee was totally embarrassed with the way they gave that game up, and rightfully so. They were in total cruise control. They had every chance, even late, to win that game, to put it away, and they just allowed Kentucky, and thankfully they did, time and time again, to get back into it. It's just not a good team. I know that we just can't say that every day. It's not good radio. You all can't write it on the blog every day that, like, this is just not that great of a team, but it's not, and they're just going to struggle and kick and scratch and claw just to probably beat the average to good teams. And they'll need to do that to get to the tournament. But against the great teams, the teams that are legitimate second weekend contenders, Final Four contenders, it's not good.
And I don't want people to think that we're saying they're a bad team by saying they're not a good team. It feels like they're a very average team. Very average.
Yes.
And, I think Brandon Ramsey said it on the KS Boy the other day. It's like the highs are never as high as you think.
Right.
The lows are never as low as you think. And I'm just, as things are all unraveling, as the season's gone on and we have basically more than half a season to look back on, it really does feel just like average, mediocre. Mm-hmm. You win some games you're supposed to. You lose badly against some teams that you probably are worse than. And then you sprinkle in a couple of losses that you probably shouldn't have had, and you get this result.
I'm not trying to go all John Calipari, Mark Stoops, but it feels like a Kentucky football season where it's just, I know the expectations are different, so it's apples to oranges, but it's just like, all right, this isn't a great product. Maybe they'll win, maybe they won't, but it's not a team that's going to amount to anything. So you watch because you're a fan and it's something to do, but it's not pleasurable watching. It just hasn't been for a while for Kentucky basketball. And that's why I think people on the postgame show last night were turning their attention to Mitch Barnhart.
Yeah, and I've brought up apathy on this show previously, and it felt like before that win streak, there was a lot of apathy kind of setting in. I think the win streak put that off, but after this loss, there is just a feeling that this team, like you said, isn't really going to amount to much, and you just got to enjoy the wins when they come, which is.
And then you get to March and you hope to win one game, and then maybe you pull an upset, and then you get a week to have some fun. But realistically, just get to March so you can at least have one game. At least you can have the Selection Sunday moment. You can dream, but it's a rough year,
and that's okay at some schools. This is Kentucky, and that's unacceptable.
So let me ask you this: you enjoy the wins when you can get them. Well, it's January 28th. They'll be playing basketball games until March 7th. TJ, we talked about this yesterday. 3 wins. That's what Bar Torvik has predicted for Kentucky. Do you see a 4th win on the schedule, Jacob? Do you see a game that Kentucky can steal? Because right now, all the experts are predicting is that Oklahoma, Georgia, South Carolina, so just 3 wins between now and March 7th. And I'm telling you guys, like, if that's how it ends up happening, this is going to get so bad.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's going to get so bad with the fan base.
You beat Tennessee on the road, so what's to say you can't beat them at home?
Do you really sweep them, like, again? I mean, I guess you could. If you beat them on the road, you could. But you also got down by 17.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I look at every one of these games and they could potentially be a loss, but I also look at most of these games and think they could pull out a win. There's only...
That was with Cam Williams also.
Yeah. 3 wins doesn't... If you told me they won three games for the rest of the season, I wouldn't be shocked, but I still think... I think they'll probably get 4 or 5 out of this.
So you think they could beat Tennessee? They think about Florida on the road?
I think they could win one of the Florida games.
Okay, so 5. So that would be even...
I'm not saying I'm predicting it, but I
could put you at 10-8. That was just what you did last year. I mean, I would take... If you promise me 10-8 right now, actually, if you promise me 9-9, I'd take it. If you give me 4 wins between now and March 7th, I'm taking it. At going 8-10, Bart Torvik, just for fun here, he has Kentucky and Dayton.
No. Could be a good time. Yeah, and I could see that happening. The schedule gets tougher, and then even then, could Oklahoma come into Rupp and beat UK? Well, if Missouri could, then Oklahoma could definitely do that. Yes, you beat Tennessee. Assuming Georgia, that's a 9 o'clock game. Georgia's good. They're good offensively. If Kentucky goes on one of their infamous offensive droughts, Georgia could make you pay, and then you're playing catch up. It's just not a great situation. All right, let's turn the page here. Let's talk a little NFL because I think this is wild, and I know every sports radio show is going to have a take, and they're going to talk about it. Producer Matt, noted Patriots fan, excited about the Super Bowl. He's moved on, but Bill Belichick is not a first-ballot Hall of Famer. In voting earlier this month, Belichick fell short of the 40 out of 50 votes needed for induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. And he'll have to go back onto the ballot. So we'll let the noted Patriots fan have the first take of this sports radio topic. But 6 Super Bowls doesn't get you on the first ballot Hall of Fame.
I mean, technically 8 if you count when he's a defensive coordinator at the Giants.
Yeah, you're right.
But 6 Super Bowls he won as a head coach. Was it like he has more division titles than any coach in history? I don't agree with a lot of things this man says, but I'm going to go ahead and quote Mr. Booger McFarland from yesterday. I mean,
that's Mr. Booger to you.
if he doesn't get on the Hall of Fame and first ballot, who does? Like, what coach out there is are you going to say has a better resume for getting on the first ballot Hall of Fame than Bill Belichick? I get that. What was his name? Who's a part of the Bills organization that was talking about it's because of Spygate. We think you should wait 1 year and this and that. I forgot what his name is, but he was on the voting, and apparently he was lobbying or something with the voters saying that Bill Belichick would have to wait 1 year to go on the ballot because of his issues with Spygate. And I was just sitting here thinking, like, O.J. Simpson's a first ballot Hall of Famer. So now,
what did he do?
Now we care about character in the NFL. Now it's a problem.
He was acquitted, Matthew.
He was.
Ray Lewis was a first ballot Hall of Famer.
We can keep going.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean, Aaron Hernandez probably would have been a first ballot Hall of Famer if he played long enough. I don't know. It was. I mean,
are the standards for coaches just different or something?
I guess so. I guess they are. It was one of those where
he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, guys. Let's all calm down.
Booger himself said it yesterday that usually when you go on Twitter, everything that happens is very divisive. One side is like this, one thing like this. He said he's never gone on at least NFL Twitter, like the NFL Twitterverse, and thought, wow, everybody's on the same page. This is ridiculous.
Jacob, what do you think? What do you think about?
Yeah, there's not much I have to add other than what everyone has said. It's like he should be in the Hall of Fame. He should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I know Brady went and won another Super Bowl without him, kind of showing maybe this how much of it's due to Brady. But I mean, he won 8 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Don't wait until these guys die to put them in Hall of Fames. Who was Ron Santo for the Cubs? Had to wait to get into the Hall of Fame. They thought he should be in basically since he retired, and then they have to wait until he dies. That sucks, well, man. Give it to him while they're alive.
Another point made yesterday was that next year Tom Brady would be eligible for Hall of Fame. Are they going to make Tom Brady wait 1 year because of Deflategate?
Yeah, I don't know if Brady's a
good
Hall
point.
of Famer. He's no Jordan Love.
Oh, that's true.
He's no Drake May, I guess.
Yeah, I'm with you all. I guess I can't add anything besides just being, I guess, maybe slightly more frustrated by it. Just cancel the Pro Football Hall of Fame then. If it's that political that a guy who won 6 Super Bowls as a head coach, 2 as a coordinator, doesn't get in on the first ballot, don't do it. Don't get rid of it. It's too corrupt. It's been compromised. It's just idiotic. He's more likely to have his name on the trophy with Lombardi than he is to not be a first ballot Hall of Famer. What are they doing?
I didn't
get
even
rid
look.
of all those people votes. If they voted for him to not be on there, and it was a moral clause that he was involved in Spygate or this, that, or the other, get the hell out of here.
The man was recording signals during games. It wasn't like anything like Michigan stuff where they had dudes on the sidelines. Like, the dude was genuinely just recording the other team while they were playing against them.
Yeah, just like there's a million cameras at games is what you're saying.
Yeah, like
Who made it in over him this year? I haven't even seen who else has gotten in.
Is Brett Favre in?
He was a first ballot Hall of Fame.
Okay, he had a scandal too.
He
scammed
was
during
welfare.
that he was already in the Hall
I
of
forgot
Fame
about that one.
then.
Okay, he's had multiple
The
scandals.
NFL's Warren Buffett.
He was just, it was like text messaging.
Yeah,
you could send pictures. That was new. Brett, he just didn't totally grip it. Well,
Okay.
yeah. All right. I don't know if they've announced the class, but they're expecting this class could be. This is just from AI, so almost certainly not going to be accurate. But Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, didn't those guys already get in?
Yeah.
Frank Gore.
AI got in.
2076 Pro Football Hall of Fame class head by Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, Terrell Suggs, Adam Vinatieri, Eli Manning, Frank Gore, and Marshall Yonda.
Okay.
It's a good class, but Belichick should be on that.
Or would Belichick have been the 2027 class? Regardless.
I don't know how that
Ridiculous.
stuff works.
Idiotic. Not smart by the NFL, and they should pull those votes away from the people that didn't vote Bill Belichick as a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah, this is for the class of 2026, which gets announced on February 5th.
Okay, so it's expected to be like Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely should have Belichick a part of that class. Peak, you seem to not care as much because he's eventually going to get in, so it doesn't matter that he's not first ballot.
Yeah, just make sure that he's in before he passes away. Can we do that? Like they should be celebrated while they're alive.
He should, yes, but he should just get in the first time he has
No,
a chance to get in.
I 100% agree with that. He should already be in, but I'm just saying, like, he's going to be. But
I think he's feeling young.
It's like a respect
Feeling
kind of
real
thing.
young.
Like the dude
Got
did
his whole
more
life
for the
ahead of him.
NFL than any coach ever. So, I mean.
yeah.
He just needs one more year with UNC, and that'll
get him.
I would expect this out of the fart sniffer baseball voters, but NFL, A.T. Boutre, disappointing for sure. 502-414-1450, Game Day Men's Health text line. Want to tell you about our friends at Salsaritas, 3 locations in the Louisville area. St. Matthews, Middletown, it's got a drive-through, and they are in Bullitt County off I-65, Shepherdsville. It's delicious. Keep them in mind for all your catering needs. Wildly addictive chips, quesadillas, queso, nachos, burritos. Are you hungry yet? Let Salsaritas take care of you. And they're open.
am.
Yeah, me too. 502-414-1450 is that Game Day Men's Health text line. All right, let's read a couple texts into the show. 502-414-1450. Kim Baum has us going 10-8 for what it's worth. Another texter says, JQ is clearly done, by the way. It's a bit insulting to our intelligence to dangle this carrot of him coming back. Do you all agree that JQ is clearly done, as this texter is saying?
I feel like I have to pretend that he's not all the time. Like I have to. Hey, he's gonna get. Is Mark Pope gonna be asked about this until the end of the season? Is he gonna be asked until?
I would think so, right?
Yeah, he is. I'm just saying, like, it's just we all have to like. Is JQ gonna play? Like, it's just we have to all act stupid. Like, it's not an obvious situation that we're dealing with.
Shouldn't we get frustrated with Mark Pope and just say, hey, come out and tell us that he's opted out?
I do. And I'm kind of over this. I'm just over all of it. Like, yes, he should. He should say, I don't, like, you know what Calipari started to do? Like, go back and watch some press conferences when guys were, like, Jared Vanderbilt. We all love Jared Vanderbilt. But he was clearly just sitting out games. And Cal got tired of it. And he was like, well, you'd have to ask him. I've heard he's fine. Go ask him. Ask him why he's not playing. Yeah, I'm over this. And you know what does Mark Pope have to lose? He's got 1 more year left, so just do it. I mean,
I like you getting worked up. I'm frustrated by it too. And I do think that if he's not playing, then they should just come out and say, like, hey, he's not playing. Our doctors think that, you know, the swell. But he's not saying any of that. He's not going to throw him under the bus.
I mean, I get it, and I know JQ seems like a really good kid. Now, honestly, I'm looking at Jacob for any subtle signs here, but I don't think that JQ is the one who wants to sit out. I really believe that if you ask the 18-year-old who has a basketball in his hands everywhere he goes if he want to be playing basketball or not, he would say yes. Mm-hmm. Jacob, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think this is a multi-million-dollar decision that obviously, at the end of the day, I think it is in his hands, but he's got a lot of people telling him, hey, it might be smart not to play. And I don't want to say something that will blow up and be like...
Nah, nobody listens anyway. Yeah, you guys are safe here.
I don't think he's going to play again this season. I'm prepared to be proven wrong, but until that happens, I'm working on the expectation that he's not playing again.
Malachi Marino, it has been fun to watch his development, but he's just not at that same level. And then secondly, if there's foul trouble, then you're going to Brandon Garrison, and that's there's a drop off there.
But senior Brandon Garrison though will be
on another team.
That's the thing, Jacob. I mean, how many guys? I know. TJ, do you care if I go through this again with Jacob here? Just
Do
real
it.
fast.
Fire away.
How many guys do you bring back for next year's team? I mean, if you are the GM, they hire Jacob Polachek.
Well, there is the question of what guys have agreed to multi-year
I mean,
deals.
who cares?
Like, if
Who
we're talking,
cares? Because you got to reevaluate the whole thing at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you bring Mo Diabate back? I mean, I'll give Mo this. Mo was he was diving on the floor last night. But is he a guy
Mo's one that will
Pope
depend
can
on,
coach?
Will depend on the value. I think bringing back Mo just depends on what kind of value, at price you're getting him at.
BG.
How much? No, I don't think you bring him back.
Colin Chandler,
I think so. Yeah,
Jasper Johnson.
that's another one. Depends on the price.
You
but I
had
think-
to pay a lot for him this year.
Yeah, but I think if you're getting him on a similar deal as this year, then yeah.
I think you'd have to ask for will you sign for less money?
I don't know about that. I still would bring him back on his current deal.
Okay. Who's left, TJ? Because Aberdeen's gone, JQ's gone,
Ortega's gone.
Ortega. So there's
and
your
everyone else is still in play.
Did you say Trent Noah?
Trent Noah. Why do you bring him back?
Yeah, if you can bring him back as a
But why? I mean, like
end
that.
of
Like
the bench depth piece, as someone.
what
that's
has he done? He's like 2 for 11 from 3 against
But you're
the good
still
team.
going to need a depth piece.
But I'm saying you're
Get a better
getting
depth piece.
a 10th
you
guy.
can't Scott Kenny be on the floor. Like, I'm fine if Trent Noah takes a big step up, sure, and he was great last year in the limited spots that he had. But I mean, what has he done this year to be like for a national championship team? I guess if he's like 10th or 11th guy,
I think
So
the
you're
real
saying if he's a walk-on.
yeah, he's like basically like
I think the two big questions are Jalen Lowe and Cam Williams. I think those are the two that I go back and forth with.
I'd be fine with Cam. I think you got to get. I don't think Jalen can be your starting point guard for a national championship team. I think he'd be fine as a backup, but he's obviously not going to accept that role.
Yeah, I agree with that.
One texter says, we could have let Garrison walk for A.Day Mara or Merez Johnson, by the way. I don't know if that's totally true.
It's hard to say. They didn't really get too
The
far.
Brandon Garrison situation was weird, though. It was like they obviously hurt his feelings a little bit bringing in JQ. And then they, I think, assured him that, like, listen, JQ's going to be hurt. You're still going to get to play. And if it clicks and you play well, we're obviously going to play you, and you're going to be battling with Malachi. I think they just convinced him that, like, the minutes are still going to be there. Come on back. Why did they try to convince him at all? I know he was a former McDonald's All-American, used to the system. I don't think you could have gotten those guys for what it's worth, Texter, but you could have gotten somebody.
But my thing is,
You could have gotten a project. You could have
Santos
gotten.
for real?
I mean, heck, what
Maybe.
is Reese Potter worse
you
than
say?
Brandon Garrison? Are we convinced that Reese Potter is significantly worse than Brandon Garrison? And I don't mean to go
Is
in.
he
on,
hurt?
I don't mean to
He might
go
be
in on
hurt.
BG. But what were you going to say, producer Matt?
I would say the thing for me is in this situation where you have a lot of players that, like, in their past away from Kentucky had success, and it seems like they just don't fit into this system they want to run, and it feels like there's too many changes being made. There's a lot of rotations being made. A lot of people playing where they weren't expecting to have to play. Would you rather return a lot of these players for next season and try and develop that and build on it, or would you rather put Mark Pope through the cycle of having to build through the transfer portal again and do the whole roster construction all over again?
Go ahead, Jacob.
I think one thing that people aren't
Fair
talking
question.
about is this is the first year where you've seen a lot more multi-year deals in college basketball. And so I think the transfer portal, obviously you're seeing it in college football where guys have a little bit more structure to their deals where the schools can kind of force them to come back. I think the transfer portal is not going to be like it was in previous years. Obviously, there's still going to be a lot of high-level players going, and there's still going to be a lot of players in the transfer portal. But I think that a lot of teams, from what I've heard, are preparing for it to be a weaker transfer portal class just because teams have more ability to lock in their players ahead of time. So I don't know how smart it is to completely say, hey, you guys get out of here. We're going to just build through the transfer portal. I think you do need to keep a significant amount of pieces, but you need to build around them in a smart way.
But you're going to keep pieces that you're basically saying these are our role guys. Instead of like you have to go out because obviously even this team healthy is not a top 10 team.
Yeah.
Like they're just not. So you have to now go get guys who are going to play over the guys that you're asking to come back.
And you're freeing up two of the highest paid spots with JQ
That's
and
true.
Ortega, that's giving you a lot of leeway.
But Collins not a starter on a championship team.
No,
Unless he takes a significant jump next year. He's been good in spots this year, but that's about all I can expect out of him at this point.
I have a question for you, Jacob.
Yep.
Looking, you brought up the football having multi-year deals, obviously because they have to play until their junior year. They can't go one and done. Do you think that you said that there's kind of more of that coming to college basketball now? Do you think that we start seeing some like Darian Mensah-esque issues or some Damon Williams-esque issues where players do want to opt out and the teams can't really enforce the contracts they have?
That wouldn't surprise me at all. I think teams are still trying to figure out exactly how to do this with multi-year deals and what's going to hold up, and I think that this upcoming portal cycle will put all of that to the test of what actually holds up and what's just hearsay.
Well, one thing that I think that's interesting and probably true, Jacob, it's something I hadn't thought about, is that players are tied up a little bit more now. Schools maybe have a little bit more leverage with some of this, but you're still going to have plenty of players in the transfer portal. It'll still be an insane number, maybe not as high as years past. Maybe top-end talent, not as much. This past year was pretty wild. I could believe all that, but to Peake's point, if you needed 3 players, you could still get 3 players. Yeah. If you needed 4 or 5 dudes, you still could. Now, it may be more competitive at the top. You maybe have to spend more because there's not as many great bigs or a great shooting guard or a great shooter. I mean, Kobe Bryant went for a ton of money now just a couple years ago. So it may be more competitive based on what you said, and I totally buy what you're saying, but there still will be people, and there still will be quote-unquote stars. But there's also a reason why they won't be going to the NBA. They can be really, really good college players, but you need to land them. I don't think Pope did a good enough job landing those dudes on this year's team. And, yeah, maybe more competitive, which is tougher.
I'm not coming in and saying, hey, Kentucky needs to keep this whole roster. You lose Ortega, Denzel, and JQ, and just run it back with everyone else. I'm not saying that by any means. And I'm not saying that you tell everyone to leave and build a new roster from scratch. You need to find that balance. You need to find the guys you want to stay in your program, the guys that you can keep in your program for value, and then go and fill it with some high-quality guys in the portal.
Texter says, it's important to remember that Jalen Lowe was our 3rd or 4th choice. I'd be pretty shocked if he's back. If he is, it's probably a bad sign about our ability to attract talent. That's a really good point by that texter. And I'll also just add, it's similar to the Brandon Garrison situation to me. Jalen Lowe, obviously a much better contributor and basketball player, in my opinion, than Brandon Garrison. But it just seems sort of iffy to bring him back as is, so probably just better to cut bait in this situation for reasons that the texter said. But let's also throw in he's not a good shooter. And let's also throw in that he has an injury history. He had a hand injury that he played through at Pittsburgh. Now he had a shoulder injury that he couldn't play through at Kentucky. He's going to be getting surgery on it. Do you really want to put any sort of stock? Now, if it was truly as like a 2nd or 3rd string point guard option, that'd be an incredible luxury to have. But how much money are you having to go get a better option than him? Would be a fair question at that point. So I kind of agree with this texter. If he comes back, I don't know if that's necessarily a great sign.
No.
Worries me that maybe
Braden Hawthorne will be back, right? He's also recovering from an injury somehow.
Yeah, we all have to be realistic about Braden Hawthorne. Maybe he's good, but I don't think anybody should look at him as – is he on any 2027 draft boards? I mean, maybe he is, but I don't think so.
Jacob would know.
Where would he be ranked if he had stayed in the 2026 class? Let's just pretend he's a recruit.
He's probably in the similar range of where he was, maybe
4-star?
A little higher. Yeah, 4-star, borderline 5-star, potentially.
Not a top 10 or top 15 player.
I think it's also different because he was rising so much in that 25 class that if he stayed in 26, it's like who knows how much he rises if he plays another high school season. But, yeah, he's not a top 10 player, and I think that retaining him should be a priority because you can't have wasted years with guys on your roster. If you're going to bring in a guy to sit on the bench for a year and learn, you can't let them leave after a year. So you have to prioritize that.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like we're going to be signing 5 or 6 guys from the transfer portal.
I agree.
I
you
don't-
do agree with that? Okay.
I don't hate that either.
Well, I mean,
and you probably
Actually, I should say six or I didn't want to do this. The reason I didn't say it, but actually I do think it could be up to 7.
well, you have 3 guys that are gone for sure.
Right. So
And
there's
there's
3.
0
That's
high
why.
school.
Yeah.
You have
Right.
0 recruits.
So probably closer to 7, honestly, because I do think like I'm thinking Jasper, whether they want to bring him back or they don't, I just don't think he's going to be back next year. I get this feeling that he might look elsewhere, and then Braden Hawthorne might do the same thing. And I mean, we got to be real. This has been a miserable experience for a lot of the guys on the team this year. Are they going to be like, man, I can't wait to come back and put this uniform on again next year and play for this program and this coaching staff?
Well, if the money's right, I think they probably will.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. And I don't know that you're gonna have some of these guys are on 2-year contracts.
You know, if they do feel that way, Peak, then get the hell out. I know you're not saying otherwise, but if they feel that way, they were mean to us. Yeah, when you were losing by 35 to Gonzaga, people booed you.
I'm not saying that
they weren't thrilled with you. What, do you want to go play for a fan base that just gives you little pats on the back for doing a good job?
But they also want to win.
Or do you want to go play for the best?
I agree with you, but I think
fan base that's going to follow you. You need to play good, though.
I agree, but that's what I'm saying. I think that these guys want to win, so some of these guys might be like, you know what? I want to go play for a coach who's a proven winner, and you know, like, I love Mark Pope, and I really want to believe, and actually I kind of do think if he gets the right guys, the guys he can coach, like he did last year. He didn't forget how to coach. Go watch that Florida game. Go watch the Duke game. Go watch some of those games from last season. This was a fun team until all the injuries piled up. But we knew who the right hire was. I, in my heart, knew who we should have gotten. Nate Oates was the right guy. He always was the right guy for Kentucky. He was the guy who came up just short of winning a national title. He couldn't quite get over the hump at Alabama. You get him to Kentucky. He brings his system in because that's the system we got anyway, or we thought we were going to get. Obviously not running it this year. He was the guy. And it's, Kentucky used to be, they were hated under Pitino. They hated Calipari for the one-and-done stuff. Nate Oates has just proven to me this year he's definitely the guy for Kentucky. Can you imagine him at Kentucky bringing in 2-way contracts? Oh, it would be so much fun. To just, you all are upset. Sorry we're bringing in the NBA guys to beat you. Sorry that Bediako scored 16 last night. You know what I'm saying? He fits the Kentucky.
That's
everybody hates us anyway, so we get the coach that everybody hates, and we pair them together, and we just flip the middle finger off to the rest of the college basketball world. He was the hire, just like John Calipari was the right hire in 2008, but we were too scared because John Calipari, he's a little... No, just go freaking make the right hire. Now, that they didn't, I want Mark Pope to work out. Again, I think that if you get the right guys, and that's why I brought up who you bring back, because he put together a team that doesn't fit his coaching style. A texter had it. I couldn't find it, but they said, I mentioned this earlier this month. Mark Pope coaches shooters well. He stays calm. He doesn't freak out. Cal coaches energy way better. He doesn't coach shooters as well because I think he gets in their heads a little bit. Mm-hmm. But you're right. Those teams, TJ, even when they got down, they fought. You never really had very many Calipari games that would just balloon the lead, the deficit would balloon to 17 or 20 because those teams would fight, die for loose balls, and get rebounds. He could coach energy. Mark Pope coaches the more analytical, let's run the right play, let's do all that stuff. He didn't get the guys that can do those things. So I still think if he gets his guys, he can work. But the right hire was Nate Oates. He's the guy that could have led him to a championship in year 2.
Texter says, I think Oates took himself out of consideration due to some personal stuff going on at the time of the hire.
Even if that's the case,
there's conflicting reports on that. Texter, I had heard that too.
They didn't offer him.
But that's the bottom line. Like, again, the goal for any athletic director at the University of Kentucky is which guy, I don't care where they're from, who they are, which guy is going to win the most at Kentucky. And we said it at the time. How could you look at Mark Pope, a guy with 0 NCAA tournament wins, and say, aha, he's the guy. He's the one that will win the most at Kentucky. Nobody believed that. And maybe you couldn't get Nate Oates. Maybe you could. Again, there is conflicting information on that. But they didn't even reach out, supposedly. They didn't even try. And maybe it was because of that person.
Brandon Miller and okay, well, you know what? Alabama didn't fire him. You got to still go up against him in the SEC. And, you know, when we were in that press conference as in Alabama, while he's going over how basically, wink, wink, we passed Kentucky. I passed Kentucky in my short time here. We're better than you all, is what he was basically telling the Kentucky media in that press conference.
It's Vandy is too. You can make a long list of SEC programs. All right, one final segment, long overdue for a break. Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. back. One final segment. Kentucky Roll Call, Big X Sports Radio. Stephen Peak, Jacob Polachek, TJ Walker, producer Matt Childress here on your Wednesday edition of KRC on Big X Sports Radio. Get your text into the Gameday Men's Health text line, 502-414-1450. There are more texts. We can keep reading them if you all are fired up and keep wanting to talk about anything else.
Can you read my text?
Bellarmine at home tonight against West Georgia. Knights Hall is going to be rocking. I think kids are free tonight for what it's worth. I'm thinking about going. It's just I wish it was like a 6 o'clock game. But that's at Knights Hall tonight, 7 o'clock. Do you have to work that game, producer Matt?
14:50.
Do not think so. No.
No, that's over. We don't have to do the Bellarmine games, right?
Is it men's?
Yes.
No, yeah. I think that's a WFIA. We do women's.
That's right. Okay. As soon as I said that, I was like, no, that doesn't.
How are they doing this year?
Bellarmine, they're 7-13.
Ooh.
2-6 in the A-Sun.
Man, what has happened to Scotty Davenport's program? I'm
They
sure he's
split
upset.
the Florida trip last week. They really should have gone 2-0. But, the Davenport dynasty, it's the new son now running the show there. They take on West Georgia. Anybody know West Georgia's mascot?
Wow. I'll be honest
Pine
with you.
cones.
Yeah.
Close.
The pine cones. What are they?
Close.
The red?
The Wolves.
Oh, that is like the pine cones.
It's a lot like a pine cone when you
Those
think about
Wolves
it.
are going to be my second guess.
Don't think about it too hard.
All right, what do you got, Pete?
Just this guy sent this text in a few times. Can we
one
you want to read the whole thing?
One texter says hi.
That's me.
I think that was. Oh, that's how I get Jacob's number.
An 858 number.
Yep, San
Did you
Diego.
get the Game Day Men's Health text in response?
It's very confusing having an 858 area code working Kentucky, which is an 859 area code. So when I tell people
Oh yeah.
my phone number, they always
Jacob,
go
if
wrong.
somebody sends you any false information about recruiting, it's definitely not me.
Okay. Yes.
Feels like our glory days are done. Teams used to be scared of coming into Rupp Arena. It was like Rupp was so haunted to other teams. Now it's like Disneyland. We went studs to duds. We ran off a Hall of Famer who made history and is the winningest coach. Is Calipari the winningest coach in Kentucky basketball history?
I don't think
I didn't
so.
think he was. I thought he had.
Rupp was there for like 40 years.
Yeah, I'm
but they
pretty
did
sure it's
play
Adolph
more
Rupp.
games during the Cal era.
I'm pretty sure it's Adolph Rupp. But
Yeah,
regardless, Calipari wanted to retire and be like Tom Izzo. Well, he left, so he could have done that.
Rupp had double the amount of wins.
Kansas
Yeah.
is replacing St. John's in the CBS Sports Classic.
Really?
So the CBS Sports Classic is going to be Kansas, Kentucky, UNC, and Ohio State.
So we're gonna play Kansas every other year then.
They should replace Ohio State with Michigan State and then change the name of it and call it like Champions Classic.
And then really stick it to UNC and get Duke in there.
And
I agree. I think they're onto something
It's
with
the
that.
perfect segue, though, because the rest of this text is our all-time records are fading away and other teams are catching up. This is not Kentucky basketball. Our old Kentucky home is shattering to pieces thanks to Mitch Barnhart. That was a text on the Game Day Men's Health text line, and you guys brought up Kansas. Kansas is they play tonight. Jacob, you would know. Okay. Well,
I'm not Kansas, right?
if Kansas wins their next game, they will be within 5 of the all-time wins. And by the end of the season, guys, if Kentucky does end up finishing 17-14, if Kansas goes 22-9, wins a couple Big 12 tournament games, wins like
Kansas plays Saturday.
well, okay, so they have the week off. Then win like 2 NCAA tournament games, and going into the 2026-27 season, Kansas will be once again your all-time wins leader. And that's not on Mark Pope entirely. Kansas passed Kentucky up once under John Calipari,
But they cheated.
and then they cheated, and then those wins got taken away, and now they're going to pass Kentucky up again, most likely. And you guys, I mean, they went from one Hall of Fame coach to the next. How come Kentucky can't figure that out? Why do we have to go through Billy G?
Because Mitch Barnhart's not good.
How is it? It can't be that hard to get a great coach at Kentucky. And I hope that Mark Pope it just ends up becoming that coach. But come on. He wasn't when they hired him. He was not a great coach, or at least maybe he was, and he just didn't win the games. I think that's the thing about being a coach is you kind of get graded on how if you win, right? And
Sounds
and the same thing with Louisville and Pat Kelsey. Like I love Pat Kelsey. He was on my list. He was on my list of Kentucky potential coaches. He wasn't on the top, but he was on there, and Mark Pope wasn't. But these were two coaches who hadn't won an NCAA tournament game. and they're taking over the two of the biggest programs in college basketball. So should we be surprised that both teams are where they are, Matthew? There we go. TJ.
No.
Okay.
We shouldn't be surprised.
It was kind of a rhetorical question anyway. So,
Producer Matt, are you okay?
He gone.
Oh boy.
He's entered the portal.
That's a big
The knee
concern.
swelling has got Matt out.
Let's read a few more texts. Texter says, oh yeah, that is the Glory Day one. That's a long one. Another texter says, I have a ton of questions about Mark Pope as a coach. I don't doubt he knows his X's and O's, but I don't think he holds players accountable worth a fart. I genuinely don't buy that the players respect Pope because when we get down, our play on the court is so casual and lazy, as in the players don't seem to care, the equivalent to pick up basketball at the JC. That's 100% all on the coach, and we will lose 10 out of 10 times against competent programs. That is a great point from the texter. When things when the going gets tough, this team just does have a quitability about them. Now, to their credit, they did come back a couple of times, but the offense doesn't get better more times than not as the game progresses. A lot of times it gets worse when it's a blowout. Now, when it's close or something like that, it's a bit different. And you just see it in their body language. I'm not a big body language guy because when you're winning, that stuff just gets glossed over. It's natural. When you're losing, you're not going to be happy and you're just going to look a little frustrated. Their body language is terrible. They gave up yesterday. They did. And they've given up now several times on this season. So it's frustrating. I get why fans are not okay with it. Patrick Murphy texted into the show. He says, are you all surprised that Miami, Ohio, and Arizona are undefeated? Also, if Kentucky turns its season around, will they have a higher seed in the NCAA tournament? Patrick Murphy, they're not going to turn it around, buddy.
The best they can get is like a 6 seed at this point. Unless they win out. But realistically, sure. Even if they figured out some things and beat some teams they're not supposed to, I really think their ceiling, hell, man, it might be a 7 at this point.
No, yeah, I think you could get to. I think you could realistically get to a 6, but yeah, if I could push a button today for an 8 or 9, I probably would.
Yeah,
because I think they're maybe closer to a 10 or 11.
Gosh, how about Louisville and Kentucky and Dayton?
Are you all surprised Miami and Arizona are undefeated? Arizona, yes. Miami, yes. Yes, I'm surprised. To answer your question. I didn't know anything about Miami, Ohio basketball going into the year, but I wouldn't think that they'd be one of the last undefeated teams. And then Arizona, I did like their roster, but they played a pretty tough schedule. It was not just a cupcake schedule. I certainly wouldn't think that they would finish January undefeated. That BYU game was insane. They're a good team. Go Pete. I'd like to have him in blue and white.
I'm surprised how consistently they've been able to do it. I thought Arizona was going to be a good team, but I thought you're led by 2 big-time freshmen. I thought it was going to take some time, but no, they haven't missed a beat. They've coast to coast been the best team in the country.
Yeah, they beat Florida in game 1. They beat a ranked UCLA team. They won at UConn. They beat Auburn. They beat Alabama. It's been an insane schedule.
How about Nebraska? That's the one that surprised me.
Nebraska going toe-to-toe with Michigan last night. I did not see that game coming. They were 10.5-point dogs. They gave Michigan everything that they could handle. Michigan holds on for a 75-72 win thanks to a big second half, but Nebraska 50-burgered them in the first half, which is a big deal. Indiana beats Purdue. I think Purdue's just not good. And I think if Kentucky can beat you like they did in that exhibition game, I know it was meaningless, but I think it meant a little something, if you know what I'm saying. And then Arkansas, I'm glad Kentucky's not playing them off a loss, but that was a good win for them. If you were an Arkansas fan, you'd be really excited about that. They got a horrible whistle, still found ways to win. Nigel Pack had a good game. Yeah, that Nigel Pack for Oklahoma. It was a fun night of college basketball. Tonight, not as good. You only have 3 ranked teams playing, no ranked on ranked opponents, but Rick Pitino, they host St. John's. You can get into the Garden for $2 for that game. Wolf.
Whoa. How much?
$2. A $2
Get you into the Garden?
$2 bill gets you in, Jacob.
Wow.
You got a $2 bill on you?
I can't make it.
Houston,
I have
TCU.
the $2. I just can't get to New York in time.
Houston, TCU. That's an interesting one. Houston, a 7.5-point favorite on the road. I wouldn't be shocked if TCU covers that one. Bet responsibly. And then Florida on the road in Columbia, South Carolina. They're 13.5-point favorites. South Carolina 2-5 in the conference. That's not the only SEC game, though. We do have Mississippi State at LSU. My bet of the night is actually Mississippi State plus 7.5. I just don't think LSU is in a spot to be a 7.5-point favorite in an SEC game. I know Mississippi State just got their booty cheeks clapped by Vanderbilt, but who hasn't lately? Am I right? But LSU, I think they win, but I don't think they cover 7.5 points. Tennessee and Georgia tonight. That's an interesting one. Both teams have been ranked this season, but not ranked at the moment. Georgia, Tennessee, I do like the over in that one, 159 points. Texas, Auburn. This is a important game for both teams. Auburn can't really afford the home loss. Texas would be a big win for the Longhorns. That one is at 7 o'clock tonight on ESPN2. So that's your action in conference play tonight.
I think the bet of the night, though, is down in Callaway County, TJ. The Murray State Racers hosting Illinois State. Racers are 2.5-point favorites. They shot terrible against Drake, their second loss in the conference. So they'll bounce back tonight. Look for a big shooting game out of the Murray State Racers.
All right, as we mentioned, Kansas has replaced St. John's. St. John's had a nice little one-year stint replacing UCLA.
0-1.
In the CBS Sports Classic. Hey, thanks for coming out, though. But it'll be Kentucky versus UNC, Madison Square Garden, New York City, December 19th, 2026. So that will be a fun game right before Christmas in New York. That'll be a fun trip. If we know one thing about Mark Pope, though, is if you go on a UK trip, just be ready for them to lose by 30 points. So be ready for that.
Some engagements.
That being said, in 2027, Kentucky will take on Ohio State. 2028 in the CBS Sports Classic, they will take on Kansas. And I guess that means they won't play Kansas in the CBS Sports Classic that year. And then in 2029,
Kansas in the CBS Sports Classic.
That's embarrassing. Champions Classic. And then in 2029, UK UNC again. So they've renewed it 4 more years. UCLA's gone. St. John's is gone. Kansas and Kentucky, they will remain. I don't know. I'm kind of over it, I guess. Kind of over it.
Over what?
CBS Sports Classic, Champions Classic. I'd be all right.
Go to Maui?
I'd be all right with one. I'd much rather do Maui. I'd rather have cool home-and-home games, I think. I just go and you get enough time to go watch the Cats and neutral site games. You get SEC play if you want to go on a true road game. You get conference tournaments. You get NCAA tournaments, although it's not like Kentucky's really giving you too many chances there.
Yeah, well.
I'm just over it. Just over it.
Yeah. I can't even think about, next season and what 2020, what's it go to, 2029? 2029. What's your prediction for 2029, Jacob? What does Kentucky's basketball program look like?
Yeah, what's the roster look like?
Are they going to have Pierre Rondo by that time, or is he still?
There you go. That's a good pull.
Pierre Rondo, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know what
good.
class he's in, but
I think he's 2030.
How many titles has Mark Pope won by then? I'm holding you to this, by the way.
Not enough.
Does he still know the assignment?
Is
he still the coach? Is a better question.
Well, that's kind of what I'm asking. Yeah. Is he the coach in 2029? I bookmark this.
I lean towards no.
Lean towards no because he's in the NBA after winning a couple titles in 27 and 28.
In the NBA.
Playing in the NBA. Is he? Yeah, maybe he can go back to Kentucky. Does he have any eligibility left? He can play for them.
I mean, everyone can go back to college at this point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Another texter says, I can say something for certain. Vanderbilt was most certainly not cheating before Nil came around. They stunk in everything but baseball. Now they're good all around. No wonder. Nothing but rich alums everywhere. UK has to find a way to keep up. What's up, guys? Happy freaking Wednesday. The Pope experiment clearly is not working. I don't think it ultimately will work long-term either. I hate turning games off early, but absolutely could not finish that game last night. It was pitiful. It was embarrassing. It was painful as a Kentucky team to look like that. Fingers crossed for better days ahead, but unfortunately we're probably years away. Hey, guys, maybe Mark Poop doesn't understand the assignment, says one texter. Another texter says, I think we have NBA talent for next year if we can retain it. Malachi Jasper, Braden Hawthorne. Not saying they're like way out, but definitely feel like they're NBA talent. I don't know. Maybe they're NBA talent. Like Malachi, I think, would get drafted. Jasper, I think, has potential down the road. Braden Hawthorne, I'm going to need to see it before I believe it, but I don't know. Jacob, thanks for hanging out. Maybe we'll have better days ahead.
Hey, IU moved up to a quad 1 win, didn't they?
I don't know.
Okay.
Have a good Wednesday, everybody. This is Kentucky Roll Call on Big X Sports Radio. Woo! See you on Thursday. Play a little trivia tomorrow.